All right, guys. Sorry about that. We had technical difficulties here in the bait room. Again, I'm live with Brent Anderson. We used to call him Mr. September.
But now he stinks it up in September.
I didn't even know he was still fishing this year, but he has been going. And we're going to talk about, this is going to be a different show. It won't be so much about baits. Brent will talk about a few baits. There's old Brandon Perkins, my buddy over there at Pickwick.
BP.
Speaking of Pickwick, Brent, I hear you've been over there quite a bit this year.
They call that the lake that Brent Anderson built.
The lake.
Ain't that right, Brandon Perkins?
Yeah, I like Pickwick. Perkins owes me a fishing trip over there from like 3 years ago, and if he doesn't take me, then you're going to have to take me fishing.
I'd probably go with get Amerson or Atkins to take you over him.
Ooh. I tell you, have you ever met Kelly Riedheimer?
Yeah, a couple times.
He's a Tennessee Volunteers message board legend, and
That's
supposedly that's who has showed Perkins all the juice through the last few years.
I have heard Riedheimer was the brains of that outfit for sure.
But
Perkins definitely the looks though.
Yeah, he outkicked his coverage. I'll tell you now. I don't want to put him on the spot too much, but
he won't even let me stay there anymore. But that's a different podcast.
Well, hopefully next time we go live, Brent, we'll be on the Joe Rogan-ish setup. We'll both have our own camera and microphone, but we're going to do that after Christmas. I'm going to let guys know I won't do a live show on Facebook next week. It's Christmas week, so I'm going to kind of be with my family. There's old Kelly. He just joined. But once we get back from the new year, the Baitman show will continue as always. And, you know, as long as Brent wants to come on, we'll have him on whenever. So we're going to talk about the fishing industry in general. We'll talk about what's going on the Tennessee River. We'll probably hit on the carp a little bit. And Brent's got something really cool going down in Florida.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about what Brent's going to be doing in Florida. And if you like to catch janks and you want to get away from Western Kentucky, West Tennessee, or wherever you're at, maybe you're up in Minnesota and you're in 3 layers of flannel and you want to catch a bass.
And get a suntan.
You need to get a hold to Brent. So let's just roll it. Brent, what is going on? What are you going to do? What's going on in Florida and why are you going down there?
Well, man, it's something I've been wanting to do for several years, but I just couldn't get my foot in the door. I wasn't going to just show up at Okeechobee and Shiner Guide. And long story short, I've been given... who are we thumbs
I'm
up?
giving thumbs up to Frank Hazley. He joins every show. Awesome guy.
Thanks for
I'm just trying to let
Frank.
you talk without interrupting.
Oh, that's fine. So I've been given access to 3 private lakes for 3 years. And basically, my job is to do anything I want to with them. But they sent me down last winter to kind of fish them and see what was going on. And true jank trophy bass, man, 100 bites a day. I mean, it's a small sample size, so right. I don't want to say guarantee 10 pounders, but we were there for a day and a half and caught 2 over 10. And when I say 100, I'm not talking about, major league fishing size. I'm talking about 3 pounders, good solid 3 to 4 pound fish. Yeah. But anyways, these are going to be kind of exclusive trips, so they're going to be a little more expensive than a typical guide trip.
So if somebody wants to go with you, Brent, do they need to message you on your Brent Anderson fishing page? Or
yes, there will be. It's going to be called, it's in the Vero Beach area. It's about 38 miles northeast of Okeechobee, or where these 2 private lakes are. And we're working on a website right now. It's going to be called VeroTrophyLakes.com. And I'll let everybody know on my Facebook when that's up. And you're going to be able to go in there, book your day, see what days are already booked. And man, it's it's going to be a slow process getting it going. But I want to try to do some cool stuff. Eric Pate, my man, he's already booked 5 days down
really?
There. Yeah.
So I guess my question is, does the Baitman get a special invite to do some bait testing?
If he brings his video camera, he does, for sure. But no, for real, doing Joe Lee's going to come down and do some filming with me for,
awesome.
For some little promo ads. Brent Chapman, It's coming back down. I think Joe Thomas and I are going to shoot a show. Jason Lambert's going to try to get over and do a show. So
got my own show, Joe. One of my favorite people on the planet, Joe Thomas.
Yeah, I would love to get Joe back down there, but every time I talk to him about it, he's wanting to talk about how he's out chasing a deer or something in a pen.
Yeah, that dude about wore me out. When I was filming him hunting, dude, he's in so good a shape, and I was in decent shape at the time, and I just couldn't handle him. Let's see, I'll go through a few questions, so if you guys got some questions, we'll try to answer them as we go. Hey, what's up, Ramey Colson? The pride of Katie's, Kentucky there.
Ramey Co., my boy.
We're just talking about fishing some little wooden baits, some square bills. Oh, I know that's up your alley. All right, so I will come. All you got to do is give me a date, and I got to call off from work.
Jason Losh. It's real close to Stickmarsh, Jason, where I'm going to be on the private ponds.
So Brent made the comment, and we've already had this discussion. Major League Fishing. So we'll talk about the future of fishing. Brent has one side, I have another. How do you feel about Major League Fishing, Brent? And do you think it's going to be a continued success, or
what up, JoJo?
Or do you think it's going to be a flash in the pan?
I hope it's going to be a flash in the pan. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. What I don't like about Major League Fishing, I started bass fishing about 19 years ago, and from day one, I could put a boat in, go down the bank, and catch 1-pounders. What I have spent 20 years of my life trying to master is catching the biggest 5 bass that I can catch, bigger than everybody else's 5. So I just feel like you're taking, you know, I watch a lot of basketball. A lot of people know that.
Right.
It's, to me, you're taking 3-pointers in basketball and dunks out of the NBA. Like, all y'all can do is shoot layups and free throws. You know what I'm saying? You're taking what those guys are so good at, right, you know, dissecting a lake, figuring out how to get the bigger bites, and you're taking it out of the equation. It's like, and it's not exciting to me.
So here's my counterpoint to that. No one said you can't go fish for the 5 biggest fish. And matter of fact, you can catch more than the 5 biggest fish. So let's say you go, I'm going to use Matt Robertson, for example. He was just down there at Harris Chain Lakes. His best 5 weighed 32 pounds. You would have to catch 32 1-pound fish to make the same amount of weight. Well, there's no telling how many times Matt culled making that 32 pounds. I think he culled 6 or 7 times. So let's say that we add 6 more 4-pounders to his best 5. Brent, you're at 50 pounds.
Right.
You're still the guy that catches the big fish on lakes like that. It's going to pay off.
Yeah.
But there are going to be those lakes that are really tough. Notorious lakes where you could rack up a lot more in small weight than you can hunting for big fish. The reason I like the Major League Fishing stuff is I like giving all the power to the anglers and not the tournament series. These guys aren't having to buy a specific brand of boat just to qualify. Now, I know there was a selection process, but in the future, hopefully after the first 3 years, anyone that qualifies is all legitimate stuff. I understand they want the best of the best. People with exposure, not just Joe Blow spitting tobacco. Yeah, guys like me on there. So.
And me.
We're going to answer a few questions. We'll get back in the Major League Fishing debate.
Okay. Because I wanted to say one more thing. I agree with you on that. I wish Major League Fishing would have done what they did, but made it a regular tournament format. And I'm not against the move. You know, the revival, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a good thing. But I can't watch a bunch of the greatest fishermen in the world fishing for 1 pound 3 ounces.
Right.
Sorry,
what I'm hoping is some of these greatest fishermen prove us wrong. We got an actual Bass Pro Tour. They know their lakes they're going to, for the most part, that we've seen. I think you'll see some guys that are home run hitters. Guys like, Kelly Jordan is a guy, when he does good in MLF, it isn't the numbers. It's because he caught the biggest one.
And they're going to get to practice, too. So that'll help.
Practice makes a difference, so I totally get Brent's point of view, because there ain't nothing like hooking a jank.
That's why you got to come to Florida and see me this winter, boys.
We'll answer a few questions. Gary Gustafson. How you doing, Gary? Hadn't seen you in a while. Do you two know anything about fishing the Potomac River? All I know is fish the tides.
Yeah, I don't know. I studied it a little bit because I thought I was going to be fishing All-American up there next year, but I didn't make it. So I got a little ahead of myself. But, grass, swim jig is really good up there, Cinco, typical grass fishing. And then if you can plug in the grass to that outgoing tide and follow the right grass lines.
I know a lot of guys from that area are always ordering jackhammers and chatterbaits and swim jigs from me. That always seem to be really popular there on Potomac River. John Hensley asked, this is off topic, want to know what camera. I know you two know what works best on a boat. Man, I like a GoPro. I use a Silver 3 Plus because it's got a looping feature. If you're not doing any huge YouTubing or video production, just get the basic model GoPro and do you just fine, or use your cell phone. You can do a lot with a cell phone.
Yes, sir. I bought 2 GoPros and sold them, never turned them on because I went into my hiatus.
Aaron Norris says, what are your go-to hooks when changing out square bill stock hooks?
I like any short shank.
Right.
I don't really have a brand. Everybody, Mustad and Gummy are both Guts are both making them now. But so you can go to a size up, a bigger size from stock, but you won't have trouble with them tangling together.
Yeah, I'm an owner guy. I like the owner short shanks. I always forget their numbers. I think it's like a ST 51 or something, or 48.
Yeah, man. There's 2 numbers. Good hooks though. 36 maybe.
Yeah, short shank.
Brandon Perkins Brandon uses them.
Yeah, message Brandon Perkins. He's the owner guy. He's pretty good with a crankbait, but I like the owner hooks, and the Mustad KVD ones are really good. What's up, Billy Bass?
What up, Billy?
All right, I'm gonna go through here. These Eric Pates. Is MLF invite only? Yes. Do you think it will hurt the fans? And Zach Morgan asks, are you fishing the Mississippi River division of the BFLs?
Which one do you want to talk about? The MLF fans?
Yeah, we'll talk about MLF, then we'll keep answering some questions. I don't think it'll hurt the fans. Fishing's not a fan-friendly sport, and I've always said the best way to do this is live on-the-water coverage. It's not like college football or basketball. You're just not going to set people in an arena and watch fishing. It's not fan-friendly, and that's one of the reasons it stays at the level it is.
Yeah. And what I've heard talking to the guys that are a lot closer to it, some guys that are real close with Boyd and Johnny, the ratings are supposedly out just off the charts for Major League Fishing. And that's why, and I'm not saying everything I like everybody else should like, but I can't watch it. I can't watch them get excited over, pump and fist over 130, man. I can't. Which I don't watch fishing anyways, really. But, but I think it may generate even more fans. And maybe the average guy is going to be like, hey, man, Van Dam just won a tournament catching 1-pounders. I can do that. I think from the bottom, the true amateur, weekend, once a month guy, I think it's going to build it. And I think that's their overall goal.
Right, and I'll be honest with you, when guys win tournaments on Major League Fishing, I would hear more about the baits than on Bass or FLW, because I think the audience is it's a different audience. It's they're on Discovery Channel. It's like when I watch Discovery Channel, I can tell you about all these reality shows, but a lot of their audience can. Yeah. Well, then all of a sudden Major League Fishing comes on, I can tell you all about it, and their fresh amateur audience, they don't know nothing. They're seeing all this go on. Right. They don't know that a pound and a half bass isn't very exciting. Now, I'm not lumping in every tournament's going to be one with a pound and a half bass, and this is nothing against Major League Fishing, but for the most part, numbers are winners here. But all right, Jay Najron asks, hey Brent, with these storms and cold fronts rolling in Florida now, how do you think it will affect the fish here?
Hey Jay, honestly, I haven't spent a lot of time in Florida. I know the private lakes that I fish down there, and I'm going to be guiding on. They're still pretty easy. I have fished a Costa and a couple of little fun trips to Okeechobee, and man, I've always laughed at these guys talking about cold fronts, because here I mean, some of my biggest stringers in Tennessee and Kentucky are on a bluebird day after a you know cold front in the spring or whatever.
Like
and
tomorrow's going to be.
Yeah, like they'll be biting more than biggins. And then I go to Florida, and the temperature drops 10 degrees overnight, and them suckers are gone.
Right.
It's amazing. But, you know, they go into the closest, heaviest cover, man. And that's when you start punching that thick stuff and try to draw them out. The guy asked about the Mississippi division. I can't remember who that was. No, man, I am not. I'm really going to try to focus on this Florida gig through April next year. Probably will. I'm going to do all my summer stuff on Pickwick next year for guiding. ST36 on them hooks, Perkins said. But I'm probably not going to fish any BFL level. I may do a couple of divisions of Costas next year, just because I don't have the time to fish 20 little tournaments. But I'm going to miss them. Love the Mountain Division, love the Mississippi Division, love BFLs. But I'll be back someday.
So, Brent, that brings me into something interesting. I'll try to answer some questions after the show because things are going fast and I'm trying to keep up.
Fast and furious.
Here's another Florida question. Taking boat to Harris Chain of Lakes with my 2 teenage sons next weekend. Any suggestions?
Call Matt Robertson.
That's right. Take you some Scottsboro swim baits, fish off the bank.
About that long.
Yeah. And he caught a lot of fish on a crankbait and spinnerbait as well. He actually graphed those fish. You hear guys graphing fish on Kentucky Lake, Pickwick. Matt actually found those on his Humminbird.
That's so good, man.
Yeah, dude. I wish him the best in the Classic.
Man, he's a prime example of a guy that
puts in hard work.
And he puts in the work, and I'm not trying to get back on that Major League Fishing thing, but I feel like what Matt is so great at would be taken, would be handicapped in that format.
I also think what Matt's really good at, he would excel in Major League Fishing because he's actually pretty good at going to a different body of water and figuring them out.
Yes,
so if you give him a couple practice days, he might not be the numbers guys, but he's going to be on the bigs.
Yes.
And that's what he'll go for. He'll either a hero or zero.
Yeah. And he ain't scared.
Nathan Martin, he's from
Nathan?
down there around Pickwick. Brent,
sir.
do you throw them glides like Matt does?
Man, Nathan, what's up, bud? I have not messed with them. I have not messed with them at all. I probably know more about talking to Troy Hollowell and J.D. Merritt about it. You know, I've heard the same thing. I'm sure everybody's read, and you get a lot of followers, and hard to hook up. But I miss and lose enough on regular baits, bro. I don't need to be like down in my odds of hooking up. I lost so much money this year on lost fish, bro. But we'll talk about that
At least you
later.
got to fish. There's a Kentucky Lake legend himself, Jeff Evans. Jeff says, should I be in Florida?
Are you not already in Florida, Jeff? I figured you was down there with Critchlow.
Yeah, you and Ronnie ought to be fishing down there. I need to get Evans on here. He would be a great smallmouth show because back in the day, Evans was the man on smallmouth up here. Let's see. Brent Anderson, how many tournaments could you have won on Kentucky Lake with the MLF format?
That's an interesting question, man.
I think in 06, 07, you could have caught 100 bass that weigh 500 pounds.
Yeah.
At one time.
I don't know that I could have won many more.
Right.
Because most of the tournaments I've won here of any size, I didn't catch a lot of fish, man. But, I had 5 that weighed 5 to 8 pounds.
The thing I would have liked to see is in the heyday, I guess it's from 06 to 09, and then you had 2013 was really good. I know like me and Deefy would get on schools and we're catching, 20 or 30 bass that are between 3 and 5 pounds.
Right.
Well, so you get on, let's say that's 4 pounds, that's 80 pounds. So the guy that's going out there and just trying to catch numbers, you got to catch a lot of 1.5 fish to catch up.
Yeah.
And then you get a guy that gets on those mega schools with the 5s and the 6s. It gets crazy.
Man,
those Ben Parker spoonfish.
It used to be so good. I remember the first time I ever went to New Johnsonville, a lot of people thought I was raised down there and stuff. I never laid eyes on that joker till 2009. And the first day I went to New Johnsonville, I caught 60 4+ pounders and probably close to 200.
Jeez.
Decent keeper size fish. You talk about thinking I had figured it out. Like I was like, man, I'm gonna blow everybody out. And then we fished the Triton Owners tournament and finished like 30th.
Dude,
with 25 pounds a day.
That is a tough tournament. There's so many guys fishing it. I know you've done good, and Zach's done good. Lots of local hammers have done really good, but there's so many boats, and you know, I think Defew's got like in the top 10 4 or 5 times.
That's amazing, yeah.
It's tough, but man, the amount of fish this lake was putting out at one time in one tournament was unreal.
And like I say, man, that was 09. And you know, like I didn't realize the lake was that good. I thought I had just like unlocked it.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, man, I have figured this out. And so, you know, I run up there to these 4-pounders thinking I'm going to dominate fools. Well, I figured out real quick.
Everybody found 4-pounders.
It wasn't my skills.
Yeah.
It was the lake.
So, speaking of, you kind of hinted on it. You're going to be taking your talents to Pickwick. What are you going to be doing at Pickwick? Are you going to be doing guide trips, electronics trips? How long? When are you going to start doing that?
Right now, I'm going to play it by ear down there in Florida. I'm shooting to come back about April 1st, and I'm going to book everything from probably take a couple weeks off to kind of get my junk back together, get switched over to deep fishing, and then I'm going to do guiding, and I'm bringing back my my ever popular electronics trips.
Oh yeah.
And because I really, guys, man, I quit doing those. I kept guiding here, but with the new units and things were changing, and you couldn't see them as good as you could on some of the older units.
You kind of had to go back and relearn.
Yeah, well, you know, and then with the carp influx here, there are some people's units I couldn't do what I did on the units I was running, which they were Lowrances, but they were the Gen 210s. But now this new live is out, man, and it's I just got mine hooked up, and they're top notch.
So for those that don't know about the new Lowrance Live, what's the difference mainly in the new Lowrances compared to like the HDS units? And you don't have to get technical and tell me about the crystal colors and all this. Just
honestly, I don't know technically enough what it is, but they have somehow this 3-in-1 transducer. They have just cleared up the image you're getting. So basically, Humminbird Mega Imaging came out a couple years ago, and it's crystal clear. I mean, we can't deny it. But there's some things about Humminbird I didn't like. I like that image. So what they did with Mega is blew up the image, so everything's just like in your face, so you can see it. So Lowrance has figured out how on 800 kilohertz to keep that clarity, but on this side imaging, which a lot of people know that 99% of the time side imager, you can see 180 feet left and right. It's amazing. But I don't know how to answer it. But I just know that's what I've seen with my eyeballs.
Well, you know, it's kind of like Ben Parker. He'll tell you, I can't tell you all the ins and outs. I know what settings to make it right, and I can go, that's a bass, and catch it.
Yes.
In theory. He said, but
we used to could catch them every time he was going to say that. But
Phil Ralston, what do you think was the best unit to see fish, like the older ones?
Gen 210.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
If you can find a HDS Gen 210, and you get that thing set up right, I mean, it is video game fishing.
Yeah.
It is really good. It is a little slower than the carbons and all that, but as far as finding a fish, that's the one. A lot of guide service competition on Pickwick, including electronics trips. Just telling you, I think that's kind of about anywhere you go on a Tennessee River right now. Yeah, man,
that's you know, I'm hoping to mostly be able to bring my regulars. I'm sure some of them it's too far, but I mean, I haven't advertised guiding in 3 years, man. I've just had a good group of guys, and but you know, they're getting to where they don't want to come here, man. I mean, they're used to, you know, a bad day being 50, and it just wasn't much fun anymore.
Eric Pate, can you use that transducer on my Lowrance?
You would have to ask Nathan Martin that, Eric. It is new to me.
Somebody said, "What's up, Brent?" I think that was Eddie Brown. You know Eddie Brown?
Yeah, what's up, Eddie?
Eddie, thanks for tuning in. So, yeah, unfortunately, this whole carp thing has really kind of changed more than just the fishermen. It affects the local tackle shops, the local businesses, and believe it or not, it's going to really affect what I do as far as Baitman Live, because I've got to tailor my show to more of a regional, national deal, and which could be good because I'll have plenty of guests from different places across the country and be able to bring you more new techniques and new baits and stuff. But as far as go filming YouTube vids and stuff like that, I guess I'm gonna have to come to Florida and hit up old Lake X quite a bit.
Come on with it.
Zach Morgan, any idea price on electronics trip yet?
Man, I want to get with the guys down there and see what they're doing, because I don't want to come in there and undercut anybody. That's their realm down there, man. So I'm just gonna try to work my way in and get along with everybody. But I'm thinking probably $300 a day, $350 a day.
That sounds really competitive. I think you'd be fine at that. Thank you for the comments, Troy Roach. I try to do this once a week on Facebook, once on YouTube, and every now and then I get a hammer like Brent to join me to basically say, hey man, don't get too big-headed. I'll show you how it's really done. Tokyo rigs, have you been using it any? You know what that is? Have you seen a Tokyo rig? It's like a punch rig.
Is that one up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I meant to show this to guys not long ago. I've actually got one. This is from a company called Red One Systems. They also make the Red One trolling motor cables. Miller Built Products makes this. So this is, me and Brent are just going to dissect it right here.
You can probably tell by the look on my face, John, that no, I don't know what one is.
So, I just stuck myself. So this is very similar to a Tokyo rig. This is basically a punch rig. So you've got your...
It's adorable.
Yeah, your hook up here, your weight down here, and this is actually tungsten. And he makes these pointed so this can go through the grass. But Tokyo rig is very similar as that. The ones VMC make don't come with the weight on the bottom. You put your own weight on there. So it's kind of like a drop shot, but you don't have a long leader, and you're just basically bouncing that bait a few inches above the bottom. I'll let you take that to Florida and test it out. How about that?
So,
is that an earring?
Brandon's just trying to get attention.
What's up, Scott Schwacker there from Hog Farmer Bait Company?
Go down one, or this way. Baxter, come down.
How many years do we think it will take Kentucky Lake to rebound? I think my son Brooks will be in high school if it ever gets back to the glory days.
Yeah, I think 10 years.
Right.
Because there are some signs out there. There's been some hydrilla found. I haven't been on this lake, man. I've been fishing a lot, but I've been on Lake of the Ozarks and Pickwick and a couple other places. But
there's a ton of bait this year.
There's a ton of bait. There's some hydrilla that's been found, and it's not just floating through. I really quizzed Joey Rumsey, found some, and I'm like, man, I think that's coming down from Pickwick, and he said, no, it is growing. Knowing Joey, he probably swam down there and like derooted it.
Yeah.
But those are the two factors right there, man. Bait and vegetation, which is the best cover in my opinion.
Right. You can see Brent's brain working as he looks at the Tokyo rig.
Oh man, we're gonna tweak it.
Yeah, and this isn't a true Tokyo rig. This is actually it's called the Bubba Shot and Thule Dipping from Miller Systems, and they made this to punch heavy cover with on the Delta. And this is a big, strong gauge wire, but it's thin, a little tungsten weight, and it's pointed so it goes straight through the grass. It's actually kind of sharp. If you set the hook on a jank and missed, and it come back and hit me in the head, I'm done for.
I was gonna say it would be good for like beaming people that pull in on your hole.
Yeah,
get that in a
That's something I would like to see change in 2019 is on the water ethics.
Well, it probably will on Kentucky Lake because there's not going to be any fish out there to catch.
That's true.
But it's not going to be out of the goodness of people's heart. People get stupider every year, man.
Scott Schwacker, this one is not attached by clevis.
I thought he was trying to be funny. It was a serious question.
Yes.
He said earlier, is that a cletus? I mean, a clevis?
Scott's only the second person I know that you used the word clevis. The other one was Stan Sloan.
Yeah.
The great Stan Sloan. Because when I learned the clevis because I used to work for Jeff Evans over at Fisherman's Headquarters. First job, Jeff was great to work for. He's what started the Baitman. He was sick and he said, I really need to order some spinner baits. Call Stan Sloan. And I said, all right. So I called Stan Sloan and said, hey, Stan, I need to order some spinner baits. He said, no, son, you ain't ordering no spinner baits. You're ordering aggravators. Because Stan Sloan was not a spinner bait. It was an aggravator. Yeah. And I'm like, man, this guy's, what's going on with him? And he's like, well, son, you tell me what you want to order. So I tell him, I need, a dozen 3/4 ounce chartreuse and white spinner baits, tandem. And he goes, well, what do you want on the clevis? And I said, what do you mean? He said, son, you can't order no spinner baits if you don't know what a clevis is. And he hung up. I had to call him back, and he explained to me what a clevis was. And he used several words that are in 4 letters that I'm not going to put on a live show.
He was such a grumpy old guy.
Right. But, dude, he made good products. And he was a heck of a fisherman. I got to fish with his son later that year. And I'll always remember talking to Stan on the phone. And the next time I called, I tried to be a smart ass. And I said, yeah, I got an order for you, Mr. Sloan. And I know what I want on the clevis. And he hung up. So he had a pretty good sense of humor. All right, let's go answer some questions. Any words of advice for a first-timer in the mountain division? And shout out to my buddy Garrett Gensley.
Yeah, Eddie. I don't know, bud. I don't know where you're from. Maybe from up there. I fished it a couple years and had some pretty good success up there. But I just go, go fish my strengths. They're really good lakes. They've got a lot of fish in them. You can catch them a lot of different ways. I can tell you one big key that I found at Del Hollow is to try to figure out a way not to catch smallmouth, which is when you're catching, 5-pounders that are a ½ inch short at will, and you can do that a lot up there. They're bad news because you can only keep one over 21.
Right.
It's rare to get one, and then if you catch 2, you only get to keep one of them.
Right.
So I try to look for flatter water. I fish grass a lot up there, actually exclusively in the spring, and that'll keep you away from those brown fish. But what I've had trouble with on Dell especially is I can catch that good average size fish, but getting that 5 or 6 pounder to put you, because that's a division where, and that's a lake, actually that whole division, 15 pounds is good, 16 and 17 has got you in the top 3 or 4, and then the guy catches a 6 and wins.
Right.
And that's kind of what's evaded me at Dell.
I went to Dell last January. I love the looks of that lake. It is beautiful. But everything looks good to me because if I'm an offshore guy, I'm going to go graph everything. And it's different. It's a lot deeper in here, but we did catch some fish with my buddy old Hunter Mills.
Yep.
He's got a knack for finding them. But do you fish, I fish the jig a lot there. Do you fish the jig or you get on? I know there's some guys that catch them on a spinnerbait and a crankbait bite there.
Yeah, I can't. I've caught them cranking. First time I ever went there, I caught them A-rigging, and I didn't really know. I was so spoiled from here. I'll never forget my co-angler. I was fishing the humps. They got a lot of humps out in the middle, and I figured out the ones that were true humps with water all the way deep water around them had largemouth. The ones that were connected to the bank had smallmouth. Well, after 2 days of jacking these smallmouths, trying to get catching 22 pounds a day and not catching any keepers, I was like, this ain't gonna work.
Right.
So, anyways, day of the first tournament ever on Del Hollow, pull up to my waypoint on one of these little humps. I catch 8 on 8 cast, and then I make 10 cast.
Thanks, Todd.
I make 10 cast without a bite, and I leave. And we get to my next spot. My co-angler's like, dude, I can't believe you left. I'm like, dude, they quit biting.
Right.
He said, man, there's a lot of guys here who won't catch 8 fish all day.
Right.
And you just caught 8 on 8 cast. He was like, everywhere you go is not Kentucky Lake. And that really hit home, man. I kind of started rethinking. Instead of making 10 casts and not catching one, now I'll make like 15 before I leave. So.
The good thing when I went to Del Hollow early in the year, the first day, me and Mills, I caught 1 fish. That was better than 10 trips on Kentucky Lake this year, so it didn't hurt me too bad.
Right.
All right, let's go through a few more questions here. I'm going to scroll back. Yes, Nate, I did go with Jared Caesar. Lucky Strike lures any good? Yeah. Matter of fact, they make one of the best soft plastic worms ever, the ringworm. Tony Roach, any predictions on the next popular lure, like how the Whopper Plobber over the last couple of years? Man, the jackhammer was the most popular thing in the last year or two. Maybe the Whopper Plopper knockoffs that are going on.
Yeah.
I think micro fishing, Ned rig fishing baits are, right now, that's the trend. Everybody is, I got to have a micro jig or a Ned worm, a Ned Cinco, all that. Got to have your Ned heads. That's really popular. Swim baits are kind of replaced the plastic worm in popularity. Everybody wants swim baits, but there'll be a new crankbait that comes out that'll catch them. That's my prediction.
What?
Crankbait. I don't mean a different style, but someone like a Strike King makes like a 2.5 wake bait or something that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Because they got to replace the wake shad, which everybody wants. All right, let's go up here. You guys ever fish Cedar Creek Lake in Kentucky? I have not.
Is that lake that's full of those great big ones?
Yeah, it's full of janks. But Chris Holsclaw, who's watching here, he may not want me to tell this, but he fishes Cedar Creek. And he sends me lots of dirty pictures of big bass.
Them old dirty.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say what he caught him on. I'll let Chris explain. But
I
Cedar,
bet he made it, though.
Cedar is a great lake. It does get some pressure. I'm ready to go because I heard you can throw that big swimmer all day and catch them.
I bet I could catch them on my 9-pin too. That big.
I bet
9-inch
Elvis
pencil popper I got.
I bet Elvis would work up there.
I've got a 9-inch pencil popper somebody sent me when they found out my love for walking baits, and I've had it tied on in a few tournaments, just for like, all right, man, I got
Special
35.
Right.
I'm like I always said, if I ever get 35, I was gonna throw it, and I've never got 35, but
Alan Roberts, give us a few A-rig tips. Don't you have a new A-rig rod?
Well, we do, man.
Tell us about your redemption rods that got a recent facelift.
Yeah, real quick, man, and we'll get back to that question. Man, they're not going to fit.
There you go. We got to move it the opposite of...
So, basically, man, it's the same redemption rods, the guys I was working with the last couple years. What happened, we got the blank manufacturer we wanted. Everybody loved him, but his fit and finish was not up to par. We were having a lot of little reel seats busting loose and epoxy clumped up, and he couldn't keep up with demand. So we found a new manufacturer, same blanks, just cleaned them up, man. They got a lot better components on them, all the good Fuji stuff, like before.
I think they're about an ounce lighter than the ones before.
Components.
And the ones before were great rods. But Brent handed that to me. He said, dude, check this thing out. And I went, oh, it's nice.
And, the logo's cleaned up, man. The original series.
And, I mean, you can read Brent's signature now.
Make sure y'all
He's not going to mention that.
Make sure y'all see that. Brent Anderson.
So, redemptionrods.com. I know there's...
right now, man, I mean, it's kind of a total redo. I'd say by February, 1st of February, they're gonna be in stores, and kind of what we were shooting for on the first go round. But
I'm really excited about it. I love that big topwater rod.
Oh man, it's been. I mean, everybody that got them loved them, but we had an order in for a couple hundred and got like 30 of them this year, and they were pre-sold. So.
That's one thing I've always fishing industry gripe. A lot of these companies overpromise, underdeliver. Not saying that guy was doing it on purpose, but you hear that a lot. And that was one thing I tried to pride myself in. I would try to get baits as quick as I could, but I would never tell people I had an amount coming that just wasn't happening.
Alan Roberts wanted that A-rig tip.
Yeah, give him some A-rig
Man,
tips.
the best, and this is probably old news, the best A-rig tip I could ever give anybody is throw that sucker on fluorocarbon. And I know a lot of people do now, but when they first came out, and we were paying $80 for them, and you're scared to death you're going to lose it. And I took a guy on a guide trip out here one winter, and our first stop, he was throwing 20-pound fluoro, and I'm throwing 80-pound braid, and I'm like, man, this guy is, going to break off on every cast. Well, he did, and he caught 27-something pounds, and I caught one white bass.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it's got to be the fluoro, and it was. And I don't care if it's clear water, dirty water, it'll outfish braid 25-1.
Well, good, because last time I threw it with Jeff TFU, I got my butt whooped.
Was you throwing braid?
Yes. We both were. So now I got to have an advantage over him. All right, Rob Kennedy, my good friend from Nashville. Rob, I hope you're doing good. Since I'm not going to buy or build a cabin on Kentucky Lake, where would you go? Wilson, Wheeler, Pickwick doomed to get carp to death. How good is Barren River? I would put that sucker between Pickwick and Wilson. So then go.
Is that where you put your cabin?
Yeah.
I'd build it on Priest, Rob. Percy Priest. But no. I would definitely lean. I would like Chickamauga, man. What I would like about Chick is you could fish Nickajack and Watts Bar.
Dude, Nickajack's a sleeper. There's some good fishing there. Watts Bar's good fishing too.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that though.
I mean,
that's gonna be our
if
secret.
you lived at Chick, you can be at Gunnersville, Nickajack, Wilson, Wheeler, Smith Lake, Alabama. If you want to come fish at New Johnsonville, 3 or 4 hours, that's a good area.
Yeah.
Maybe I should move there if somebody give me a job. Maybe Scott at Hog Farmer will let me come build baits for him.
He might do it, man. My good. I'm not gonna name his name because I don't want people to think he's already gone. But I got a buddy that guides on Pickwick, and he's thinking hard about going Chick ways.
Yeah.
But basically, Pickwick for me next summer is just going to be kind of something to do until I figure out what I'm going to do.
Dwight Turlwigger. If I mispronounce you wrong, it's because I'm a redneck.
Just call him Twig. That's what
Dwight Twig. Yeah, we'll call you that. Do you use a Carolina rig a lot? I do not.
No, man. They're for catching little fish. It'd be something like if you're going to fish Major League fishing, probably throw a Carolina rig a lot.
Well, no, you throw a split shot rig. What's the guy that always makes the All-American? He throws a Carolina rig all the time.
That is my boy.
Super nice guy,
Tommy
by the way.
Pickett. Lloyd Pickett
Lloyd
Jr.
Pickett Jr. has made a lot of money with the ball and chain.
He just won $65,000 on this pond in our BFL region.
Here's the thing about a Carolina rig. It takes a lot of patience to fish it slow and methodically how it should be. I have zero patience.
I think my hang up with the Carolina rig, when I first started bass fishing, I was like, man, I got to get away from this bank. I'm not good enough to outfish people on the bank. And back then, not many people fished out in the middle. Well, I used a Carolina rig and, a lot of little lizards because you got a lot of bites.
Right.
Well, then as I kind of learned where to throw that Carolina rig, a football jig got just as many bites. But they were bigger.
Then you go, I'm going to throw this swim bait and get bigger bites.
Right, but I kind of let a football jig take the place of a Carolina rig, and I think it was because of the fact when I started, I was fishing for bites and caught a lot of little ones, and now I've got to hang up, like, if I pull it out, I'm fishing for little ones.
And I'll be honest, I think that hangs a lot of anglers up on a shaky head, and I don't mean power fishing a shaky head like me and you would throw a 10-inch worm on a half-ounce head. I think there's a lot of anglers that won't put a 1/8 ounce, 3/16 ounce shaky head down and flip a jig or pitch a jig or cast a big worm because they're getting so many bites and they're afraid to go 20-30 minutes with not a bite.
Right.
And I've been that way. I've been fishing tournament, not get a bite, and tie something light finesse on and get bites, and they're all this, and it doesn't do you any good in a tournament. But dude, if you want to catch fish, just put a Ned rig on.
Yeah, it's pretty bad to the bone.
Let's go some more questions. Brent is a whopper plopper knockoff of a mud puppet. The actual bait that the whopper plopper was modeled after is called a top rider. There's several of those style baits that's been out in the musky world for a long time. So all the guys talking about whopper plopper knockoffs, I'm like, man, they've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, plopper tails.
Pretty much all these fishing baits, there's very few just true original stuff. You see more original designs in soft plastic because it's easier to mold different stuff. Frank Hazley, is Brent spinnerbait working at Pickwick?
Frank, it was up until through September. The last time I was there was the 1st of November, and we were throwing. We were in the ABA team championship down there, me and Zach Parker, and we threw topwater the entire time and caught them old baggins. and watched a bunch of great big ones straighten their hooks out. And everybody's going to get on me
We're gonna
about
have
that.
to upgrade your split rings or something. It says, are all the redemption rods balanced? Well, I know the guys that make, they wouldn't put a rod out that wasn't balanced.
No, in fact, this new, the new company, we're using the same blank, but the different components, it threw the flipping stick off, and everybody, the owners and myself, man, really loved the flipping stick, and it's been like a 3 prototype process to get it exactly like we want it. So yes, they're pretty.
Eric Page says, please don't show your spinnerbait. I'm going to kick butt with it this spring. Well,
Man, you shouldn't have told me
unfortunately,
that,
it's
dude.
already been on the Baitman show a couple times.
I'm going to tell you what that guy right there did, though, man. Can I tell him, Eric?
Did he modify Elvis?
No, but he did it. He did something with it nobody's doing with it. I'm not going to tell.
Yeah, we'll let Eric tell that.
It blew my mind a little bit, and he caught them suckers on it.
Joe Andrus says, a small Picasso with chartreuse blade seems to work for me in Southern Illinois. What's your guys' most successful A-rig? I'm a hog farmer guy. A 5-wire 8-blade. Unless I'm fishing a tournament, which Brent's is probably different.
Man, yeah, I make mine. They're just like a generic blank, and then I put chartreuse blades on them.
Really?
Yeah.
So is there something to this chartreuse blade deal?
There is to me, but it could be in my head. I'll tell you how it came about real fast. Zach Parker and I blew the doors off a little fruit jar tournament about 5 Decembers ago. But I'd been guiding that week, and I was catching a bunch of smallmouth, and it was going to be cloudy. So that night, we're up at like midnight, man, making these A-rigs up. And I said, dude, I'm going to make one with chartreuse blades for them smallmouth, target them smallies.
And you caught a bunch of giant largemouth.
Well, we get up there, and Zach catches like 23 pounds of smallmouth, and I caught him with 32 pounds of largemouth. I never caught a smallmouth, and I've never thrown a A-rig without a chartreuse blade on it since.
Oh, I see Scott from Hog Farmers watching. He'll have the new Hog Farmer out with some chartreuse blades, guarantee you. He makes a awesome A-rig. Good guy too. You need to go hang out with him. He went to Mexico
to catch some old yayas.
They went testing him and Mike Buca from Bull Shad.
Oh,
so you put Hog Farmer and Bull Shad, and they're catching fish on a 10-inch jig. That's what the says, a 10-inch jig. All right, we'll go down here. Gotten way behind. Thank you for all the comments, guys, and thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share and like the video as well, and I'll be uploading this to YouTube. You got a time? What time we got there, Brent? Dang, we've almost been on an hour.
7:51.
I gotta get to work soon. Terry Scroggs got me hooked on split shot fishing. No big show. He's a good dude. Let's see. Thoughts on Old Hickory and Center Hill. The hill could be the best spring lake in mid-Tennessee. And that's where I first met you in a Walmart parking lot for the first BFL
Was
at Old
it,
Hickory.
really?
Yeah, when I was working Randy Sullivan for FLW.
Oh.
You were... See, we're almost the same age. I think you're what, like 36?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Close
Well,
enough.
I was probably like 21, and that's where I met Brent.
How old are you?
33. Just turned 33.
We're right there.
I think Old Hickory's a really good lake in the spring. I see all these pictures from Percy Priest come through in the spring. I would say Priest is a really good spring lake.
I think Center Hill. I was always scared of clear water. You know, and then until I kind of had to made myself go fish the mountain division. And what I have learned is Del Hollow and Cumberland are very fun to fish.
Right.
And you don't have to change. You can go do what you want to do and figure out a way to catch some. And I would like to go to Center Hill. It's got a lot of fish in it, but Whit probably knows more, which he's the one, Whit Gammon asked that question. He probably knows more about it than us put together.
He was just trying to bait us.
He was just clickbait.
He knows what's up. Whit's a great dude.
He's a bad dude.
Ever fish a frog attached to a buzzbait? Any luck? I have. That's about the only way I thought I had one up here rigged up. Maybe I didn't put my frog on it, but
I just saw. Oh, it's in the package.
Is it in the package? Okay. I like to put that frog on the back. Let's see.
Corey Shuh almost missed the party.
What's up,
That's
Corey?
old Rugged Thumbs, man. He's
Yeah,
carving out them wake baits out there in the Ozark land.
He's a good dude. I like old Corey.
Oh, I put him on them in the invitational.
This guy's like the Theo Vaughn of fishing. I hope you're talking about him and not me.
I hope you are talking about me because he's like my hero.
Wasn't he on like MTV Road Rules? I know he was.
That's what
I know
they say,
him from
man.
somewhere.
I know him from comedy. He's a
If I remember watching him on MTV growing up. I've been watching his podcast since you posted it on Instagram.
God, he's hilarious.
Do you think we can get Theo Vaughn to join the Baitman?
I can try. I'm trying to get Tyler in with him. I'm trying to get him in the boat with me.
That would be awesome.
He's from Louisiana, but no, he lives in L.A. and he's gone kind of soft, you know.
Right. Chad Barrett, what's your favorite swim bait on an A-rig?
Man, that's cool because I used to be so picky and my favorite to ever throw were those big 6-inch Shadowlicious. When when we really had them here. But now, man, I like to throw that little Bass Pro Kitech knockoff.
Right.
The little
Something in that
ribbed for
I don't have
her
one.
pleasure.
Check these out. I don't know if you've ever seen these.
Yeah.
If you got a chartreuse blade A-rig, why would you not put a Morning Dawn Kitech behind it?
You'd be dumb if you
I
didn't.
mean,
Because I'm probably the only thing that would eat.
but what Brent's talking about, Bass Pro makes a Kitech style bait that's, I think you get they're like $1 cheaper or something like very similar.
Yeah.
For A-rig, I don't know if this matters. I think it's the shape. And
Right,
it's simple and it's got some flex.
It stays on good. I hate to waste a good bait like that on an A-rig. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really feel like action is
Dude,
all.
did I ever give you any of those jumbo mega grubs? They're like 6 inches long.
I don't think
they're
so.
like. Oh, I'll find
They're
them
not the
before
ones I
you
use
leave.
for trailers.
Let's go. I just got a few minutes left on here. Snapback or Velcro hat? What do you like? Todd asks that every show. I'm wearing a snapback, Todd. It's kind of a semi-flat bill. Brent, he's snapback as well.
No, mine's crow. Mine's crowing.
Oh, Velcro.
I tell you what I don't like is that flex fit.
I have grown to not like flex fits.
And it's a shame because some of my favorite hats are coming to flex fit, and I'm like, nah.
I like the Velcro.
Jeff Archie says,
What's up with Kentucky Lake? Lack of fish, carp, or pressure?
in a nutshell, my obviously just opinion. I think fishing pressure killed the bass. I think carp are keeping it, or what's kept it from coming back.
This is an unpopular opinion. I'm going to be really honest. I think social media killed Kentucky Lake.
I think,
And I could be the world's worst example because of all the stuff I post. But I think there's a competition out there to who can Instagram the most and post the most weights and all that. I just like to say, hey, man, I had a good day out there and I caught this jaint on a 6-inch swim bait. But I think social media has hurt fishing pressure a lot because used to, you could just go BS somebody and said, yeah, I caught 20 pounds. They say, okay, well, then you post a picture of you got 5 heads hanging out there. Everybody goes, oh, it's time to go to the lake.
but yeah, I mean, I agree.
But it's good for the guides.
You could almost do a whole show on this topic.
We should do a social media fishing show. We should do best of, because, dude, I got screenshots. You guys don't know, I've been watching. And I screenshot some stuff. Some really silly stuff. And maybe I can dig into the Randy Flowers archives as well.
Oh man, I can't get back in Randy Flowers. I had people thinking I was a
Dude.
Randy Flowers. I know people thought you were Randy Flowers.
I think we all know now I wasn't Randy.
Golly.
I had to unfollow Randy, but
I didn't understand.
it wasn't. What I'm not talking about is like what Randy was posting, but just stuff that I've seen that I'm like, man, you don't need to post that on social media.
Right. I mean, I loved Randy, man. I really got on board. But man, he's pretty harsh on people, man. And I'm not saying I don't agree with a lot of what he says. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the way he goes about it.
Right. That's kind of how
I like using people's actions as an example. Don't necessarily like using that person,
right.
and bashing somebody's name like that.
Yeah, I think the overall premise that the dude, whoever's running that or whatever Randy's deal is. I agree with it, but I don't like sometimes how it goes about it. Sometimes there's a line to being funny and making a point, and then just going overboard.
Yeah.
And I think what happens on social media is it got funny and it got real popular, and then you had all these people that were making their own fake accounts to try to be their own Randy, and it got
dumb.
It got to where people were just saying awful things about people. What's up, Crispin Pally? Merry Christmas to you, buddy.
I gotta say what's up to Stevie, my buddy Stevie Mills too. He just brought a bunch of redemption rods.
Oh man,
already doing work.
Stevie's got to be loaded up.
Doing work with them over on Cheatham Lake.
Perryville Marina Bass joins in all time. Good to see you, bud.
What up?
I met him in person. His name is not Perryville Marina Bass. Well, that's just his Facebook
It should be. I'd be legally getting that changed as we speak.
All right.
Fishing that dirty. Yeah.
Favorite Tennessee lake other than Chick or Watts Bar, Brent? And Chris, he's from Knoxville.
What up, Chris? That probably Gunnersville, man.
Gunnersville's in Alabama, dude.
Oh, what'd he say? I thought he said Tennessee River Lake.
No, favorite Tennessee
lake. I'm
lake.
sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Brent over here trying to be a Roll Tide fan up in the Baitman's house.
I'm trying to get out of Tennessee, bud, and Kentucky, man. I'm ready to move. Is Del Hollow in Tennessee? Could you call it? It is. Some of it?
Yeah.
I'd say Del Hollow by far. One of my favorite lakes ever that I've ever been to.
I'm glad you like to go up there. I think I want to go with you. I'm coming to Florida, though. Let's see. Woo, man, we're way behind on comments. I'm trying to get to everybody's. I'm trying to answer some questions that where people haven't said. Jeff Gale wants to know, is the Chick the next lake to die if Kentucky Lakes? I think Chick, it'll be a while, man. Those fish really got to get down there.
Yeah, man. Jeff, I've spent a lot of time on Pickwick this year. And what's up,
What's up, homie?
You want to be a star?
My son is now joined.
Daddy.
But,
what's up, dude?
I think that there's a lot of Asian carp already in Pickwick, but
okay.
they just don't seem to. There's so much bait and so many bass and so many other fish in there right now. I think Pickwick has got easily 8 or 10 years of amazing fishing left, if not more.
My son just interrupted this podcast to let me know that he got his player stuck on something in Call of Duty and couldn't get out. Me and Brent walked in my house and I was cleaning up the table, and here I come in. My son's 5 and he's already pulled Xbox out and he's playing Call of Duty, just
jamming
walking around.
On Call of Duty, man.
I probably need to block that. Just I don't want him stuck on video games. I got Sega bass fishing in there though.
I don't need to get on that, man. I might be here till morning. You might be calling in sick, old boy.
I learned the hard way when I was younger. Social media killed one of my secret hammer holes. That's what I'm talking about.
Man.
The things that don't need to be posted. I'll be like, dude, take the photo on the floorboard of your boat. I don't need to see the tree over there in front of Slade Creek because I know exactly what hole you're on.
I mean, you know how bad I hate social media, man.
Oh, yeah.
I just play it a little bit because I have to.
You basically do live video with me twice a year just to let people know you're live.
And I post a little, bug-eyed emoji on a picture every once in a while, let people know. And I mean, it's good, man. And I like it. I like people, and I love doing this, but it's such a job, man. And everything gets bent out of shape.
Trump Flowers 2020.
Trump, man, he's got it going on, don't he?
Yeah.
He's shutting that government down.
What's the price tag on the redemptions?
They're $159.99, my friend.
I know Nate Martin started drop shotting a lot because he was always asked. They make a good drop shot rod.
Who, John?
Redemption.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Tennessee's basketball program has some hammers. Yes, we do.
I like, man. And I hate that ball. I hate that Tennessee ball. Just because I grew up right there listening to him. But I love Grant Williams.
Grant Williams is a beast.
Love him.
You got a big game coming up Saturday. North Carolina plays UK. Go Tar Heels.
Attaboy. Yeah.
So Brent will cheer for Tennessee when they play UK. So we got that going on. Maybe.
I just can't tell my family.
Appreciate the lives, Brent. Merry Christmas, Jank Killers. Well, I ain't going to kill no Janks, but I'm going to catch them.
Yeah, we're going to try not to kill them. I'm going to try to get a deal in Florida, like a contest where the biggest bass of the year gets a replica or something like that.
Dude, that would be awesome.
To kind of keep it like each trip, man, you're driven to like, oh man, he caught a 13 yesterday. Well, we're gonna beat it.
Absolutely.
So, keep me driven.
All right, we're gonna keep on going here. Well, actually, I think it's time.
Hills.
We've been at this an hour. Anything else you want to talk about dress? I know you probably want to talk about Malone's Marine. You know, they've been taking care of you for quite a while.
I tell you what, man.
Ben's a good dude.
And this sound, you know, it sounds so sales pitchy, man. That's one reason I don't wear a tournament jersey.
I don't.
Ben
either.
Malone, I can't even say what all he's done for me, man, and kept me fishing.
Right.
And it's not just me. I've seen him do it for just customers off the street kind of deal. You know, I mean, obviously I know him well. We work together, help each other, work shows together, blah blah blah. But as good as they come in that.
It's nice to have a good support from someone that's not just a sponsor, but a friend. I think Ben's a really loyal guy, and as I've seen in the last few years, loyalty is pretty hard to come by in the fishing industry. I said it once and said it before. There's a lot of people that are only loyal to a 10% discount. Once you move on, do something different, maybe they don't want to be around you. And I've only met Ben one time, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize to Ben. I owe him a YouTube video about Vexus boats. I'm almost done with it, Ben. And I'm going to cut it up and let you use it in any trade shows or anything. These Vexus boats are sweet.
Man,
dude,
are they not?
Dude, for aluminum boat, they'll haul the mail, and the ride is unreal.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. We went out to do, you came.
Yeah.
So we're going to go out and do a photo shoot. In some Vexus boats. I was thinking it was two different events. So Ben wanted me to go out and drive one. You know, they run beside me, and it's blowing 20 out of the north on Kentucky Lake. We leave Paris Marina and run to freaking Blood River. Never check up, dude.
Oh, dude,
and
it was like unreal.
They've got so much, I guess, foam between the floor. I mean, it blew my mind. Like, I never thought I would run aluminum, and it would still be hard because, you know, it's aluminum. And they're still going to blow around on the surface a lot. Little things that I'm used to.
The man is a comfortable boat.
Yeah, for the ride, the layout, the ride.
I made a joke to Ben Malone. I said, well, the good news is it rode really good and my back doesn't hurt. Because if I was in a Ranger, it would have. Because it was pretty rough that day. But it's hard to interpret the ride of a boat, though, on a video. Because you can't feel nothing. You know, you can see it. And if you see the camera move, you don't have to hit much of a bump at all for the camera to jar. And people go, oh, man, it looks rough. But if you were sitting down in a seat, you can feel waves in the Vexus. Don't get me wrong, but you don't feel that jar. It's just like it's almost like a tick.
Yeah.
And man, I'm not going to lie. If I had 30, 40, 50 grand laying around, which I definitely don't, that's the way I would go.
Yeah, you don't even need 50 to get in the loan.
I think it's like 38,000 for the
1980.
The 1980.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's with it pretty tricked out.
Right. Well, guys, we're going to jump off here. And Brent, I really appreciate you joining. We have some of the best Facebook Live shows.
Always a pleasure, my man.
It kind of sucks he's going to Florida, but if I can get some time away, I might have to get one of them cheap Ronnie Critchlow flights down there.
They're $44, man.
We'll bring YouTube down there, and we'll do live from Florida.
Well, like I say, man, just if everybody hopefully, that may be interested or not, just kind of keep up with my Facebook the next month or so. And, like I say, Joe and I are going to do some stuff, and Chapman and Joe and Thomas and Joe Lee and maybe Lambert and you and... so we're going to kind of showcase what they're about. I'm
just a redneck with the phone. All you got to do is update me, and I'll make sure I put it on the Baitman page.
So you pay?
We'll even put it on thebaitman.com. You need to get a blog on there. Brent,
a blog?
You need to start your blog.
Man, I just like blogging with catching them.
Right.
Or letting somebody else
I just got to find time to blog. That's the problem. But
it's time consuming, man. I used to do it hardcore.
I'm getting used to working these nights at Pella Windows now. Speaking of, they provided me this T-shirt. Does that count as a sponsor if you work for them?
If it's got a patch on it, by gosh, it does.
That's right. Well, guys, we're getting off here.
Did you get 10% off that tee?
No, they actually gave me 20 cents more an hour. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining in. I will upload this to YouTube. Be sure to share this video out. Thanks again, Brent Anderson. And guys, Merry Christmas. I did tell YouTube I will do a Christmas edition on YouTube Christmas night for about 30 minutes. And guys, have a good one. Be with your families. Thank you so much for the support this year. I'll see y'all after the new year. Thanks again, Brent.
Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas.